Hey guys, Jake Hints Custom Knives here. Been a long time since I've done a YouTube video, but I thought this piece of equipment right here kind of warranted one. Looking around, there's not a whole lot out there, especially on YouTube about it, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to get back into the videos a little bit. This is the Ameribrade Rotary Platen. So far I've used it a little bit. It's a pretty nice, well put together piece of equipment. I'm pretty impressed with it so far. The price point is pretty awesome. It does definitely benefit from platen chiller though, to get the most out of it. The belt heats up pretty darn quick even when you're not actually grinding on the platen. So I'm going to take you through some things about this, and then I'm going to hook this up and we'll see how well it works. I'm going to start by taking this down so that we can get in there and see how this is going to fit on. Alright, so I took a second to kind of look at how this is going to be best put on here. It looks like platen's got to come off. There's these bolts here. This is threaded. The kit did come with 2 new bolts that I believe are slightly longer to account for the thickness of the chiller here. So I think what looks like the best thing to do is pull this off. The platen will get put on, and then those bolts will go back through. As far as orientation this way versus that, it looks like this way is actually better. There's 2 holes on either side of the platen that go like this, and I think those are designed, it actually says right on the on this piece that this is designed for the chiller lines to be run through. So kind of with the lines as they are, I think this orientation's better. If you do this, they kind of get, you know, kinked off, and you gotta kind of make some extreme angles to get it to fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. I did also get, I don't know if this is 100% necessary. I think it's gonna be helpful though. I got some thermal paste. This is just some cheaper stuff off of Amazon. This is a 5-gram stick, which I think should be enough. You just need a super thin layer. This stuff's normally for processors on computers, and all it does is kind of ensures good heat transfer from metal to metal. This is just some cheaper stuff. I don't know if I was actually working on computers, I might make sure I had some higher quality stuff, but I think for this application this will be fine. I think this was like $10, so we'll go ahead and take this down. Alright, so I went ahead and cleaned both these surfaces off real good with some acetone, make sure there's nothing getting in the way of this doing its best job. You can see here that the new bolts are longer than the old bolts there. So I'm going to go ahead, spread. I'm going to use this whole tube. I don't know if I really need to, but I don't need it for anything else. So I'm going to use all of it, make sure I got a good coating on this whole thing. It came with a little spreader, so I'm going to spread it around, and then we'll put the 2 halves together. right, so you can see there that it kind of didn't spread super well. It's really thick actually, and you kind of have to do a real slow, kind of even pressure to get it to smooth out. So we'll put this together now and use the longer bolts and get it put back on there. All right, so I paused there for 1 second because I forgot about one thing about this. So when you're adjusting the tension, it's not just this bolt here. It kind of, on the surface, it kind of looks like this is what you have to. There's kind of supposedly idiot-proof directions right here saying that you got to loosen all 3 bolts, right? Well, I'm sometimes a bit of an idiot and was thinking, you know, all 3 bolts, these, right? Well, it's actually this one, and then these these 2 on the back here, which you actually have to loosen through these holes. It's kind of a cantilever system here, kind of rotates this way. So to actually adjust the tension, you have to loosen this and these 2 bolts down in here. One other thing I want to mention, because it was something I found was a problem when I got it. Nothing wrong with the equipment or with the platen itself. It was, I didn't double check the actual adjustment of the platen, how it was sitting with the belt. And so when I got it, one end of the platen was kind of out a little bit. And what that does is that puts pressure on the belt, extra friction when it's spinning, so it heats up a lot faster. And unfortunately, I caused a little bit of probably more wear on the belt than what is necessary. So when you get one of these, double check that. It's this bolt here and this one here, loosen up. That's the height adjustment of the platen itself. So you want it to, you know, just touching like that. You don't want this to be kind of raised, so the belt kind of comes up and then over. That's creating a lot of heat and friction on that edge point where it meets. So you kind of want just a little bit of play there, just a tiny bit. That way when it rotates, it's not creating extra friction. So this is it all put back together here. We got the platen chiller all in there. The next step will be hooking up our water lines and getting it back on the grinder. All right, so I decided for the chiller water portion of it, I'm gonna go the cheap route. They recommend to use like a welder chiller with one of these. It like actually cools and circulates the water. I don't know how much I'm gonna need this yet, or how much I'm really gonna use this. So until I decide like I really need it, I'm gonna go with just a 5-gallon bucket of water and then a submersible pump. Just run the pump through the lid, fill it up with water, and then just circulate the water through. I don't do a lot of continual grinding or like batch work or anything like that, so I don't need to run this thing for hours at a time. You know, I'll do a knife with it. So I think the amount of chilling capacity I'll get out of a bucket of water should be plenty to fit my needs. So just drill a couple holes and then we'll hook the whole thing up and see how it works.
All right, so some final thoughts here on the Rotary Platen. I think overall it's a pretty great tool. It definitely serves a purpose. It does need a chiller though. I think without the chiller, it's just not going to be able to do what you need it to do for the time you need to do it, and you're going to get a lot more wear on the belt. I think if there was a couple things I would change about it, I think the platen material itself, the actual steel platen behind the belt, I think that would be probably a little better if it were either some sort of low friction brass or bronze, like a bearing bronze, or like carbide or something, or maybe some graphite on there. There's definitely ways to improve it, and I can do those myself. I just kind of wish it came with something like that, because I definitely noticed there's some friction buildup back there. Other than that, I get a great surface finish with it, so there's definitely a notable difference in the look of itself. It's a different quality. So go out, try this thing out. If you like the video, let me know.